Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Donald Trump's last probably, and somewhat desperate effort to make the Fani Willis Fulton County prosecution go away. So, recall the bidding in very broad strokes. For almost a year, a special grand jury met in Fulton County, appointed by the district attorney, and produced a huge report recommending all kinds of things. What exactly? Well, in theory, we weren't supposed to know, but you may recall that the foreperson had a kind of 15 minutes of fame tour where she let out a lot of teasers from which it was not very hard to put together what they had recommended, at least the most important points. And they include one, a recommendation to indict the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, for various crimes, basically having to do with conspiracy to try to steal the Georgia election from Biden. I just need 11,780 votes as the centerpiece of evidence. The audio tape of his conversation with Brad Raffensperger would have it. And then second, recommendation to also indict like a dozen or more other defendants, some local Georgians on the ground, but also broad people in Trump's circle, like Rudy Giuliani, who specifically received notice that he was going to be a target. All those people are still in play, because what happens then, the special grand jury, which didn't have power to indict, just to give a report, authors this huge report, makes its recommendations, and hands it over to Fani Willis. And that was several months ago, but we have widely expected, and we are now knocking on the doorpost of a real grand jury with powers to return an indictment, actually meeting. In fact, 2 new grand juries were seated last Tuesday, July 11th. And they sit for about 8 weeks. And one of the 2 of them has been assigned this case. And they're going to reprise all the evidence that the special grand jury heard. They do not have to go through the whole thing again, which would take months and months and months. Instead, in a grand jury, you can have someone come to them and give them hearsay testimony, or if that's too legal, just have somebody summarize everything that's been said, answer questions, etc. And Fani Willis who's the district attorney, has made it tolerably clear that come the first week or so in August is when they are going to look to that grand jury to make its actual decisions about whom to indict. And we know that because of things that Fani Willis has done to alert the court, bulk up security, and the like. All right, so after that little 15-minute tour of the networks and stuff by the foreperson of the old special grand jury, Trump made a series of motions. And he basically said, oh, this is terrible. She shouldn't have done these things. And then, for reasons very opaque, in fact, non-existent, he said, therefore, you have to dismiss the whole case and disqualify Fani Willis. And now, so this leads us to today or 2 days ago, when he filed a whole new omnibus motion. He can't file it in... what are you supposed to do to dismiss a case? I mean, this is he abuses this all the time, including with Eileen Cannon. You make a motion at the proper time before the judge who has the actual case. Instead, Trump's MO is to try to go to another court. And here he's gone to the Supreme Court of Georgia, which in some way has supervisory authority over the trial court where this case would be heard, but it would be there is no authority for them to just reach down and extinguish a case that is about to be brought, but that is what he has asked. So he's gone to it with a long motion in the Supreme Court of Georgia saying, first, Fani Willis has a conflict because when she ran for election as the DA, she sort of made it clear she would go after Trump. A little aside here, I think that's actually right. I don't know if I'm not saying it rises to the level of a conflict, but in fact, this is sort of the perils of electoral politics. She kind of did say that, and you can understand this is, even a broken clock works right twice a day. That was probably out of line on her part. But so that's one, but not enough to disqualify her. And then for reasons that he doesn't have any real legal basis on, because he's saying things like fundamental violation of the Constitution and the like. He's asking the Supreme Court of Georgia to reach down, not just disqualify Fani Willis, but rule for some reason that the special grand jury report can't be used, and essentially dismiss the case that hasn't been brought yet. So, as is often the case with Trump, it's maybe a desperate delay maneuver, or maybe just a PR move. But there's, as is clear from the papers to the Supreme Court of Georgia, no legal basis. So presumably the Supreme Court makes quick work of it, and we renew our kind of waiting vigil, which is down to, a couple weeks for when we expect a really big behemoth indictment to come from Fulton County. Now, this case, more than any, will be important to remember the indictment and the trial are two different things. There's going to be, I think, a lot of gnarly legal issues, a lot to work out. I don't see it going to trial before the 2024 election. On the other hand, if there's a conviction, there's no federal pardon power. And, it could be a really very hard-hitting case because they have great evidence, starting with the audio tape. But so look for Trump's motion to the Supreme Court to be, for the Supreme Court to say, you should go to the trial court to have this dismissed, and then maybe after the trial and conviction, you can come back to us. But we don't reach down and just smother pending indictments. So from the dates, we have that expectation remaining. And one final little postscript is the Jack Smith federal investigation. All things being equal, when there's overlapping kind of subject matter, and there are here, the false electors and the like, you want to be the first out of the gate. So, it's not clear. He's gone a long way, but there's some final, at a minimum for Jack Smith, final T's to cross and I's to dot. But he's got to be aware of the timing also, and be thinking at least about, can he bring his charges before Fani Willis brings hers. So a lot is going to be happening in the next several weeks. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.